In a world of perfect pixels and factory, fresh finishes, we find ourselves drawn to the frayed edges, literally. Our modern obsession with patina is less about history and more about the illusion it sells. We buy vintage filters for our selfies and crackle effects for our YouTube vlogs because we've been taught that authenticity lives in decay. But what happens when those cracks can be generated by an algorithm? The same tools that smooth out wrinkles on a face or noise from audio are now, in this new economy, imperfection is a commodity. It's mined not from lived experience, but from code and algorithms that simulate the look of living. We are no longer waiting for time to do its work. We're engineering it in real time. The cracks we see on our phones aren't memories, they're marketing. Our longing has become a pipeline for profit. With authenticity itself now, just another feature to be sold. Let's start with a simple observation. Every era has its flaws, and we love them. The grain in film, the static on radio, the bleed of print, all once considered technical failures are now aesthetic markers. We didn't just inherit these textures, we cultivated them as symbols of authenticity, long after their original problem was solved. Think about it. When you listen to an old vinyl record and hear that crackle, what do you feel? It's not noise, it's time. And in a way, we've come to rely on the sound of imperfection to make us believe something is real. And so, what does it mean when we begin to crave decay as a feature, not a flaw? When every new medium not only inherits the mistakes of its predecessors, but commercializes them into selling points. The line between natural artifact and manufactured defect blurs as we demand more convincing fakes. This isn't just nostalgia, it's of manufactured nostalgia, designed in real, time to satisfy our longing for something that never truly existed, a past filtered through present.
China has announced a Lunar New Year censorship crackdown to silence what it calls COVID rumors. It comes as the country plans to target so-called gloomy sentiments across the festival period. China's censors have appeared to struggle to control critical social media commentary after the country reversed its strict zero COVID policy.
The earliest computers were not merely machines, but embodiments of human ingenuity, mechanical solutions to complex problems, laying the groundwork for the digital revolution through concepts.
By the mid-1980s, digital tools were already learning to lie beautifully. The Commodore Amiga and Yamaha DX100 weren't just machines for creating music. They were designed to add a kind of artificial soul. Programmers began encoding subtle randomness into loops. giving rise to sounds that felt human in their inconsistency. This was not accidental. It was an early attempt at solving the paradox of authenticity in digital spaces. How do you make something feel lived in when there's no one living in it? Step into the world of a late 1980s tech hobbyist. For many, personal computers weren't just tools. They were emotional prosthetics against an alienating corporate grind. As Turkle explains in The Second Self, these machines became vessels for rekindling lost agencies, a way to reclaim craft from the soulless factory floor of programming teams. They wanted spontaneity, creativity, and control, things that had been drained out of their real jobs. The Amiga and DX100 offered this illusion. You could feel it was about more than convenience. It was a romantic rebellion. These first hobbyists weren't just building machines. They were trying to enchant the world with their own touch, their own rhythms. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. By encoding human essence into software from the start, we laid down the blueprint for today's deepfakes and AI-generated content. We taught computers how to lie before we had even figured out why we trusted them in the first place. What began as a quest to preserve creativity
We have a new human being, and that's Chris Potter of Memetics Corporation, a new synthesizer, the Yamaha DX100, and a new computer, the Commodore Amiga.
We are in an arms race of simulation where imperfection itself is no longer a mark of authenticity, but a feature we design into the lie. Google's Gemini Omni and other AI video models can now generate footage that feels real until you notice the seams, subtle mismatches in light, uncanny textures, or motion that just doesn't quite bend like human flesh. The more convincing it is, the harder it becomes to trust our own eyes. We're not simply faking history anymore. We are fabricating presence has become programmable. When politicians begin to deploy synthetic flaws, stuttering, blinking too fast, slight hand tremors, it's not a flaw anymore. It's a feature engineered for trust. Our brains are hardwired to associate these quirks with humanity, with lived experience. But when they're added in post, production, or generated by code, we begin to lose track of what is real. The result is a kind of nostalgia for authenticity that never existed. Engineered warmth wrapped around artificial cold. We no longer remember, we simulate memory. We don't feel, we render feeling in real time algorithms calibrated to our emotional preferences. This is not just a crisis of trust, but the unraveling of what it means to be human within a system that no longer distinguishes between the authentic and the artificial. What does it mean when your emotions are generated by code? When every tear you cry has been pre-approved by an algorithm. The endgame isn't about faking history. It's about redefining what real